Sports Minutes with Ziaul Raushan.
Money FM 89.3. It's time for Sports Minutes with me, Ziaul Raushan. With the 2025 Formula One season upon us, it got me thinking. Have you ever dreamt of living life in the fast lanes? Well, I certainly have, but alas, here I am behind a microphone. One person, though, who's pursuing that dream is Kabir Anurag, a 17-year-old Singaporean who's part of the Alpine Development Team. And he joins me on the show today to talk about chasing his dream of becoming a Formula One driver. Kabir, a huge welcome to Sports Minutes. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Excited to have you because you're flying the flag for Singapore globally. And let's talk about flying the flag, right? You recently concluded the Winter Series. What is it all about? And tell the listeners how you fared.
So the full Winter Series, the idea of it is it's a preparation for a main championship, but it's also to compete against a lot of high-level drivers and to try to prove yourself like any competition. To fly the Singapore flag. I managed to win 2 races there, so I got to hear our national anthem twice. And I'm always very prideful because everybody knows the Italian national anthem. It's always getting played, or the British national anthem. Every time you're hearing you're used to it. But then when you hear Singapore national anthem, everybody's kind of confused, which national anthem is that? So I'm always very prideful to make it play in there. Just to represent my country in a global outlet where so many people are looking and so many people are watching to see that the Singapore flag is above all is always very prideful for me.
No, I love that. You talked about the British and Italian national anthems. The Dutch anthem has been playing a bit too much for my liking in recent years as well. Let's talk about what winning at the Winter Series in terms of the couple of races you won did for your confidence. You're obviously still just 17 years of age, so you're trying to find your feet in a very difficult world, but winning helps in a long way.
Yeah, it definitely helps to prove to myself that my processes are correct. The whole work that we've done as a team, that we're moving towards the right direction. And of course, just to stand on the top spot is always a good feeling. And it's where I want to always be. Even though it's not possible, I always want to be on the top step. I think it's just good to get the momentum rolling and the ball rolling, bringing everything that I've done into the main series on a good note.
And you talk about preparing right. Part of your preparation is being part of Alpine's development team. Tell me what that means, because Alpine is a household name when it comes to Formula One.
So being part of the developmental team, there's only about 7 or 8 drivers in the program with me, and I feel like they're all also very good drivers, and it's just proving to myself that I've got the potential, and there's a lot of people that see it, not just me. The whole people there, they've treated me very well. They've supported me along my journey. They've given me very good facilities and very good teachings and all that kind of stuff that just propels me into another world and just puts my progress on 2 times speed now.
I like the racing reference in terms of 2 times speed. Let's talk about Alpine. Is it as simple as submitting an application and then going through an interview process, or how did that partnership work out?
So, of course, everybody wants to be in a program, but it's not something that you go to. It's more something that they come to. I think one of my managers, he kind of had a meeting with one of the coaches, who's now my current coach in the Alpine Academy, and my process kind of got in my application kind of got put through, but it's not like we applied for it. Like almost every single person wants to probably apply for it, but they have to kind of look at you, and then it goes through. And then over a few months, they were considering me. My managers had some meetings, and then I kind of got the word that I was going to be in the program, but it was more like they decide. They decide who they want, because everybody wants to be in it, but they have to pick. And then of course I actually never really had a resume or anything, so I got the word that they were considering me. So I just finished a race weekend, and we had a 6-hour drive, and I wrote up my full resume on the way home. It was really long, and I was on my laptop the whole way and kind of forgetting to eat or anything, just focus mode, writing everything up. And then it kind of all worked out well at the end.
Thank God we have ChatGPT to help cut those processes these days. But you're absolutely right. It's something Alpine has to look out for, and they clearly saw something in you. You've been part of the Alpine development team for some time now. What have some of your biggest learning points been?
So I think one of the biggest learning points is just seeing how Formula One works, just understanding what the best in the business do. Like I've been able to sit in a lot of ops rooms. I was there in the F1 testing in Abu Dhabi as well with the team. I've also been at the Singapore Grand Prix and just a lot of behind the scenes, basically, just seeing how the best in the business, how they do it and how I can learn from it and apply it in my own work. I've been able to work with their performance center, all the people in the performance center, so that's just almost leveled me up as well. All the mental work, the cognitive, the physical standpoint, that plays such a big role, even though it doesn't look like it from the outside, but it's very important because every single percentage that you're able to focus more on driving and not about on the physical tiredness is just an extra tenth that can give you, that could propel you 3-4 places up. So I think it's all been small differences, but big differences in the results wise, but it's such small margins.
Let's talk about those small margins for a bit. We'll talk about when you decided you wanted to start racing in a while, but in terms of making that step up to Alpine, what has surprised you the most in terms of intensity?
Yeah, I mean it's a cutthroat sport. When you're in Formula 4, you have so much, I'd say, room because you're so young. But then when you're in a Formula 1, I feel like I've been treated very nicely. Everybody's been so kind to me. They've all betted on my potential. And of course, now that the results are coming, it definitely supports it. But when the results were not coming, you realize that it's cutthroat and that any second everything can change. So it definitely comes with pressure being there. Everybody there is really, really difficult. But I think something that really surprised me was just seeing how difficult it is. I mean, I was in the team when Esteban was there, and then of course things can change so quickly, even though Esteban is such a good driver. You listen to the way he talks. They're all so smart. They all know exactly what they're doing. But no matter how good you are, things can change quick.
And Kabir, are you based in Singapore?
I am not, no. I wish.
Okay, where are you based in?
I'm currently living in London. Very far.
Sounds like a good life to be based in London, no?
It is. I mean, it's definitely very, very nice. I miss home all the time. There's a lot of cravings that can't be settled, let's just say. But I enjoy the lifestyle there. I'm not so far from Alpine. I just take a train up in the morning and I'm there. So it is very nice. It's a very good life. The place is so easy to get around. Of course, I'm always scared about holding my phone because in Singapore, we never have to worry about crime or anything. We're very fortunate in that sense. But yeah, London is cool.
Yeah, and you talk about cravings, I hope you're referring to food. But let's talk about you living in London. If you threw 17-year-old Raushan the opportunity to be based in London, he'd bite your hand off. Absolutely. But I'm guessing beyond the cravings, there must be a sense of loneliness to be away from familiarity, your family, your friends, to be based all the way there.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Originally, I moved to Italy back in 2022, and I was about 15 at that time, 14, 15, and I guess I was still very reliant on the people around me, and that was very difficult. I mean, now living in London, I'm kind of used to it, but when I first really went over, it was very lonely and it was very difficult because there was no guarantee, there was no result, there was no motivation to keep going apart from just the discipline of knowing that it should pay off. And thankfully, I feel like now I'm saying like, okay, actually, I think I made the right decision of doing it. But of course, there's no guarantee for anything. So you're just kind of every day just working with no real result that's coming back to you. And then, of course, you're always kind of like hoping to be somewhere else, but you can't because this is where you have to be based for my dream. So it was tricky for sure at the time. And I didn't really speak Italian. I lived in a small little village, and I was almost like a tourist every single day. But it was, at the end, I feel like I made the right decision. And now looking back, it was definitely lonely. It was difficult, but I think it was definitely all worth it.
Talking about worth it, let's rewind the clocks all the way to the start. When did Kabir Anurag realize the racing life is the one I want to choose?
When I realized the race, and originally I kind of did it for fun around 2020, and then I stopped with COVID because it was kind of the wrong time for everything. And then I really resumed in 2021, late 2022. And in 2022, me and my manager, we properly started to work together, and I guess I was doing it and I was doing real races, and I realized how much I enjoyed doing well and how much I enjoyed racing and the feeling of competing. And I felt like I enjoyed racing because it's the only sport that I really gave my 100% to doing well in, because I had so much passion for it. And then that's when I realized that this is the sport I wanted to do. And then, of course, to make the decision to leave to leave home. It was a lot of convincing to my dad because, of course, even if my kid said I wanted to leave home, I would probably say, "You're dreaming. Go back to school." But yeah,
Was that what your dad said?
kind of. No, I think I'm very lucky. I feel like I would not be as supportive as my dad is. My dad is very supportive, so I feel like I had the right support system around me going through it. But I'd say the main decision where I was like, okay, yeah, let's actually start this, which is probably way later than any other driver, is 2022.
You're 17 and talking about your own kids already. I love that. Let's come back to your parents, though. You talk about having those difficult conversations. Was there at all any need for convincing almost?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the convincing was done by my manager. Thankfully, I didn't have to do too much. My parents are very supportive. Like I said, I feel like they've always just wanted me to be kind of enjoying what I wanted to do. And thankfully, they've seen that, okay, like they've actually believed in my potential, which I'm very grateful for. But going all the way back, I think they were very supportive straight away. They were like, okay, we believe if you want to go, you should do it because you should not regret it in the future, which I think is very important because now when they look back and when I'm sure they also feel the pride when I win, like to see that, okay, this is my kid on the top step. Like I'm sure they feel also very prideful for it.
Let's talk about that difficult decision you had to make, right? I'm going to address an elephant in the room, and that might be a Singaporean thing, might be an Asian thing, but it's education. Because you can't possibly be racing in the fast lanes as well as pursuing academic excellence in that sense. How difficult a decision was that?
Yeah, I mean, switching to online school was not easy. I mean, of course, I miss my friends. I miss going to school. But I also had to realize with how much I travel, with how much different places I'm in, with how many different things that I'm doing, it was the only way to make everything work. So for example, like when I do take my exams, like I have to like, so the time we take our exams is very close to the times of winter testing, which is usually the most busy, right? So I remember I was testing in Monza one day, right? And so it was Monza day 1, Monza day 2, and in the morning at 9 a.m. I had an exam in Milan. So Monza is about 45 minutes from Milan, around 30, 45.
Depends how fast you drive.
It does, yeah. I think we were going a bit over the speed limit to get back. But so I tested the first day, had a really good test day. Was towards the end of the year, of last year. Woke up the next day. I finished my test day, straight away went home, studied for my exam for 4 hours, took the exam the next day. I think it was chemistry, or something like that. One of those tricky ones. I think it was chemistry. Yeah,
they're all tricky to me, but anyway, that's me.
And then I took the exam at 9 a.m. Then I left to the track I left the exam, and then I managed to make it just on time for the afternoon session. So I mean, finding the balance between the two was not easy, but I mean, I think as my dad said, like there were certain things that we had to do. Like, education is not something you can let off on. Also, like you said, it's something that's very important, and we've still been committed to it. Yeah, but we've tried to make things work, and I feel like we have been making them work well so far.
Just before I move on, how do you do for that chemistry test?
I think I haven't got my results back yet, but I'd hope so. I mean, right now I'm averaging around like BA level, which honestly I take it because I'm not been academically gifted. I've always been kind of a doer, not sitting down and
Yeah, B's and A's are better than I ever fed, and I was never a full-time racer. So let's talk about, you've mentioned the words cutthroat, pressure. How much pressure are you putting on yourself in terms of what your parents have allowed you to do? You putting yourself out on the limbs, being based in London, and everything you're trying to pursue. Do you feel the pressure?
I definitely feel pressure, but I've kind of started to get to the point, and this is a mental switch that I've made that has really helped my progress, is that I really have to kind of just do the best I can, which I know it's such a catchy thing that people say to you, and it almost gets annoying, but I've realized that no matter what, even if things got difficult, me doing the best I can will get me ahead than any putting pressure on could do for myself. So no matter how much pressure I put on myself, there's only one thing I can do, which is the best I can. And I'm grateful now. And with that mental switch, what you realize is the best you can is usually winning. But the thing is that when you're in that mental switch of pressure, you're not actually thinking with clarity. You're just thinking with almost all that anxiety and that pressure that you're not able to make the right decision. So every time, like for example, I've done pre-race interviews when they come and they stick a mic in your face. I mean, it's quite standard. And they ask you like, what are your thoughts before the race? And in that moment, I feel like a lot of people are probably thinking result focused.
Of course,
like I want to win a race, of course. And I'm also thinking the same thing, but I'm also thinking like, okay, I want to win this race, but I feel like I just got to do the best I can. I just got to trust God. I got to make things work. Because if you know that things are going to, if you do the best you can, that's all you can do. And if I do the best I can and I finish P4, then I'm okay with that, And if I do the best I can, then I win, then great,
Absolutely. And are you sure you're just 17? Because your answer suggests your maturity is way beyond 17.
I feel like racing years, cat years, like 1 year, 7 years. Yeah. I feel like racing years is like that. So we're living like in sped up years now because we do so much. We go through so much highs and lows, and we have so much learnings that I feel like there's nothing that I can learn in a school than going out there and racing. And I feel like I do better at any job that I'm put in because I've got the right mentality now from being a racing driver. And I've spoke with my manager about this before I left, and he's like, you will do this sport, and no matter what you do in school or anything, you're not going to be able to learn as much about how to live and how to go through these situations that you will learn from being in motorsports.
Absolutely. And you mentioned not having a CV. This is real life experience that a CV doesn't cover, right? I'm sure there's a mental aspect to it as well. And mental health should be discussed in 2025 especially. Do you seek any help, or does that fortitude just come from your upbringing?
Yeah, so I feel like I kind of have a lot of mental guidance, I'd say more, because it's such a mental sport, like managing pressure. It's not something that comes automatically. It's something that kind of almost needs to be trained. And there's so many things in the sport that need to be trained. For example, I do a lot of visualization. That's something that I kind of pride myself on. That's like one of my winners in my preparation. And it's almost like putting yourself in the right mental space, because being in that mental space, you can do anything for me. And yeah, I have a psychologist who I work with, and I'd say not really just a psychologist, but she's more a coach.
Okay.
And
mental coach.
Yeah, mental coach. She's really smart, and for me, she's completely transformed my career, because and for me, like, I want to do well, so I take everything she says straight away, and I put into practice straight away. And I feel like that's what's propelled my progress so fast, is just because a lot of people, it's so easy to waste time. Imagine if you just went and you played football and you just kicked around a ball every day. But if you went and you did the correct drills every single day, you would probably progress 2 times as fast or 3 times as fast. And I feel like that's what's, like I mentioned earlier, I only really started in 2022 and I'm already winning in 2025. These guys they've probably been racing for 10 years, and for me to be able to beat them means that I've had to work 3 times harder, and 3 times not just harder but smarter as well.
I'm a big fan of working smarter rather than working harder. Both are equally important, but to your point, it's absolutely important to work smart as well. We've addressed one elephant in the room in terms of education. I need to address the second elephant in the room. We're not in a very big room, but anyway, racing is not any sport that you can just pick up. Like football, I can buy a football and go out on a field and play. Who's funding your career?
So currently my parents are funding my career, because I feel like I'm at a kind of junior stage now. It's not so intense. I'm sure by the time I step up, then we'll have plans for sponsors and etc. to help take over, because it does get expensive when you go up to F3 and F2. It gets pretty pricey up there. I don't know exactly what it is because I'm not in that place yet. But I feel like it definitely does require the right sponsorships, and also Formula 1 teams can help support you at that point. But I feel like, for now, it's just my parents who are really helping me. And I feel like in Formula 4, it's probably 90% or 95%. Usually some people have sponsors, but 95% in the drivers that you see on track are supported by their parents. Yeah.
And we talked earlier about you having pride when the national anthem plays, the Singapore national anthem. You are representing the flag. You are a Team Singapore athlete. Is there any help on that front?
Currently, no. I feel like it's just because right now we have everything kind of under control. I'm sure in the future that Singapore, I know they would love to help me in any way they can. But I think for now, we're trying to hold off on that side.
Okay. Let's stick to Team Singapore, but not on the funding side. Let's move on to another Team Singapore driver. I think most listeners would know the name Christian Ho. Is he a friend? Is he a rival? Where does that relationship stand?
Currently, we haven't actually raced each other on track. He's always been kind of like a year older and a year kind of ahead. Not necessarily ahead, but just a step, like a different step, let's just say, on the ladder. So it's kind of been, we've never actually raced each other, so I've always probably wanted him to do well. But I'm sure the second we start racing each other, there's going to be that friendly competition of who's the best Singaporean. But he's been racing in the Spanish kind of side, which is a very different competition level to the Italian. The Italian is like the hardest, basically. The Spanish side it's just a different way to go. It's a little bit more easy, basically.
I see what you did there.
You see what I'm trying to say. No. But honestly, now he's racing in the hardest thing, and I'm hoping the best for him. Definitely want him to do well. He's won championships. He's a really good driver. I believe that if Singapore has 2 good shots,
Yeah, I love that. I know I was half joking, trying to egg you on, but game recognizes game. That's what I feel comes across when you speak about Christian Ho. Looking ahead to 2025, what's in store for Kabir?
2025, I'll be racing in the Italian F4 series. So this championship, it's in the last 4 years, it's produced so many F1 prospects, already F1 drivers. It's in 2021, Oliver Behrman, who's now in Haas, raced there. In 2022, you had Kimi Antonelli, who's now in Mercedes. And in 2023, you had really good standout drivers, and I'm sure a few of them will get chances in Formula One along the way. And same thing for 2024. So winning the Italian F4 Championship is a golden buzzer. It's what I'd say. If you're able to win this, it's almost a straight line ticket to Formula One from F4. And it doesn't mean that you're able to skip steps, but it just means that you almost have a star next to your name by saying that you've won the Italian F4 Championship. It's the most difficult junior series by quite a bit, and it definitely requires you to be on your game. But for me to be winning in the Winter Series and doing some races, for example in Barcelona, I went from P8 to P1.
Wow.
And this track, a lot of people say that you can't overtake. So I've been able to do, especially towards the second half of the Winter Series, I was able to do some races which were just pretty spectacular. In my opinion, I was able to win also in Aragon, and it's all thanks, I feel like I have a really good group of people around me. I'm very grateful for it. So I feel like as a team, we can go for the championship this year.
And as a team, as Kabir, you're moving in the right direction. And I think on behalf of the listeners and Team Singapore, we'd like to wish you all the best to continue to fly that flag. Let's round it off with a round of quick fire. I love to test the reflexes of a racing driver all the time. Quick answers only. First one, are you a quali guy or a race day guy?
Quali.
All right. Favorite racetrack?
Valencia.
Favorite thing to do in your downtime?
Train.
Favorite treat meal?
Too many.
Favorite racing number and why?
19. I used to love football. I used to love Fernando Torres. So.
Oh, wow.
19.
That was my next question. Favorite sport apart from Formula One?
Golf.
Oh, wow.
Complete opposites.
Okay, favorite golfer?
Tiger Woods, just because mentality, I'd say.
Okay, favorite football team?
Chelsea.
Oh, I was just starting to like you. Favorite Formula One team?
Alpine. No question.
Okay, and favorite Formula One driver?
History, current.
Let's go history first and then current.
History, I'd probably say Vettel.
Okay.
And then current, Leclerc.
Okay. Although his teammate is my preferred driver. But that's a conversation for another day. Kabir Anurag, it's been exceptional speaking to you. We wish you all the best for 2025 and beyond.
Much. Thank you.
Sports Minutes on Money FM 89.3.